On everybody, it's JetsCentral coming back with another video, and right now obviously we're in the midst of the NFL playoffs. We got the championship games this upcoming Sunday. We got the Pats at the Chiefs, we got the Rams at the Saints, but let's be honest, Jets fans, I mean, as far as I go, I cannot wait for the season to just be done and over with and just shut the book on it completely and shove it away. I want to get to the offseason because, let's be real, the New York Jets have so much to look forward to. We have so much going for us right now. We've got a new coaching staff. We got a top 3 pick. We got new uniforms. And, of course, we have so much money available to us in cap space. And I figured, you know what? There seems to be right now a lot of confusion on the money, on the players who are under contract right now, who's going to be taking up a lot of the money, this and that. So I said, you know what, I'm going to make a video on it, hopefully trying to clear up some of the smoke, to clarify some of the noise out there. So let's hop right in. The New York Jets right now for the upcoming 2019 NFL offseason are set to have $106 million in cap space. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what cap space is, the NFL actually sets a hard cap, unlike baseball, where teams cannot go over a certain amount of money. So that number typically goes up from year to year. But anyway, the New York Jets have $106 million free available to give to free agent players. Now, it is a little misleading because it's not like the New York Jets have a current 53-man roster on their team. They're going to have to fill in holes here and there, fill up the roster vacancies. So it is a little bit misleading if you want to look at it from that aspect, but all in all, the New York Jets are currently sitting second behind the Indianapolis Colts. They have a ton of cap space, and right now they're actually in a perfect position because they, went to the playoffs, they got a playoff win, they got their quarterback, this and that, whatever. Point is that the New York Jets have the second most cap space heading into 2019. Mind you, this is before cuts. So, we could see some teams out there make some crazy cuts and they could jump above us. But then again, the New York Jets can make some cuts as well, which we're going to, hopefully we're going to get into. So let's talk about some of the big pay hits, if you will. So number one, Leonard Williams, he's going to be getting paid the most on the team. It's going to be $14 million. He's a $14 million cap hit for 2019. Now, there is some talk about Leonard Williams possibly getting traded. I doubt it would happen because he's just so young with such a high ceiling. I feel like Greg Williams coming in the building, even though he runs the 4-3 defense, I feel like he's going to look at Leonard Williams and he's going to say, there's a lot to work with here. He's so young. He's so strong. He's athletic. Really highly regarded. So let's keep this gem in house. Let's see if I can develop him. So Leonard Williams, when it's all said and done, he's going to be a $14 million cap hit. He's the number one guy on the Jets roster, or the highest paid Jet for 2019. Number two, we got Tremaine Johnson. He's coming in at $12 million. And then number three, Kelvin Beachum, the left tackle, at about $9 million. Now, there's actually some talk about Kelvin Beachum possibly getting cut. Adam Gase, Mike McCagnon, there's a very good chance they could part ways with Beachum before the free agency period starts. So if worst case scenario, the Jets go out and cut Leonard Williams, they cut Kelvin Beachum, that's an extra 20-something million dollars that we would get added on to our cap space. But realistically, I don't really see us cutting Leonard Williams. So, all in all, those are the top 3 guys that are going to be taking, our top 3 highest paid players for the 2019 season alone. So it makes you wonder, okay, we have $106 million right now available to us to spend. Now, in NFL franchises, they don't really go out and we're not going to spend every penny, okay? That's just not how the NFL works. We're going to spend hopefully a big portion of this $106 million, but not just. I hope we don't enter the offseason and we just don't drop like $90 million. I don't really want that because I feel like that sets the franchise up for short-term success but long-term failure when you get locked into these crazy deals that you don't want to pay, and normally it's you're paying these guys on the back end of their careers. So short-term it's an amazing strategy, but long-term it's not a successful tool to build your team. You kind of want to build through the draft. Mike McCagnon always says that, actually. So we have $106 million available to us. Let's look at some of the free agents that I personally feel like fit Adam Gase's offensive system that he could possibly target, and Greg Williams' new 4-3 defense. Okay, so let's break it down position by position. Let's talk about the running backs first. There's only two guys that really stood out to me. Now, of course, there were a lot of good running backs on the market, like Mark Ingram, like Alex Collins, but I feel like right now, with Powell set to hit the market, and we have Isaiah Crowell and Eli McGuire under contract, two running backs that I feel like really stood out: Le'Veon Bell of Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the best players in the league, set to hit the market. And then Tevin Coleman of the Atlanta Falcons. I feel like both of those players kind of fit. Well, I mean, Le'Veon Bell, I mean, he's a perfect fit anywhere he goes, but Tevin Coleman specifically, he's more of a, I don't want to say a gadget player, but he's more of a shiftier back, a guy that's a really good pass-catching running back. And you take a look at what Adam Gase liked in Miami. He kind of liked having the Thunder and Lightning with Frank Gore and then Kenyon Drake. So I feel like Isaiah Crowell, he kind of provides that power, that pop. Maybe he'd want a Le'Veon Bell to kind of, go hand in hand. If the Jets don't want to go out and pay the hefty price tag for Bell, maybe they could target a Tevin Coleman. Obviously, he's not nowhere near as good as Le'Veon, but he provides somewhat of that, that kind of third down mentality back where you can kind of dump it off to him in the flat and he could just make moves in open field. So those are my two running backs I really feel like the Jets should focus on: Le'Veon Bell, Tevin Coleman. Moving on to wide receiver. Now, the wide receiving free agency class is not that pretty. Let's just be 100% real with ourselves. It's not an attractive class at all. So some of the top wide receivers that are set to hit the market: Adam Humphries from the Tampa Bay Bucks. We got Golden Tate from the Lions/Eagles. We got Justin Hardy, who I think is going to be an underrated free agent. We got Tavon Austin and then Dontrell Inman. All of those guys I just rattled off, I feel like would be great fits in Adam Gase's offense. After watching hours of Adam Gase Miami Dolphin tape, wasn't that pretty watching continuous game after game after game of Miami Dolphins football. Wasn't that interested in it, but Adam Gase is our new coach, so I was really intrigued with the new offense that he's going to be bringing to the table. Quick little side story: a lot of screens, a lot of spread stuff, a lot of stuff from the shotgun. I do also expect him to incorporate the read option. So I look for some guys that have good separation skills on the inside. And you take a look at on how he built the roster, the wide receiving core in Miami. Guys like Leonte Carroo, guys like Jakeem Grant, right? Danny Amendola. He likes guys that can separate. The guys have, guys that have really not only speed, right, just sideline or end zone to end zone speed, but a quickness, right, horizontal quickness, being able to get away from cornerbacks. So all those guys from the wide receiver position, I think would be great fits. Golden Tate, I think he's a little bit older than what we might want in a wide receiver, but he's a possession wide receiver. He's tough. He's a veteran, and he's done it before. And I feel like he'd be a big help to Sam Darnold's growth and development as a QB. Moving on, we got defensive end. This is probably the biggest need for the Jets right now. Switching over from a 3-4 to a 4-3, we've got to solidify the edge rusher position. We've got to do it. We have got to do this. We cannot keep sleeping on the edge roll, especially in a 4-3, because if we cannot get after the passer in a 4-3 base system, and we have to rely on blitzing to get after the quarterback, we're in deep trouble right off the bat. So we've got to solidify the defensive end position. So a few defensive ends / edge rushers / 4-3 edge guys that you'd want that will fit Greg Williams' system that obviously we can afford to pay. Number one, DeMarcus Lawrence, Tank Lawrence from the Dallas Cowboys. Great pass rusher. We got Zeke Ansah, one of my personal favorites from Detroit. We got Frank Clark, from Seattle, but I think with his off-the-field history, plus, I just don't feel like Mike McCagnon will buy into him and give him a long-term deal. So he's kind of a, you could put an asterisk by his name. We got Brandon Graham from Philly. We got, and here are two interesting ones, okay? And the Jets fans out there, you guys might get pissed at me because we've been kind of grown to root against these guys over the past few seasons. Well, really one of them. Cameron Wake. Okay, Cameron Wake from the Miami Dolphins. And then my guy Willie Hayes, right? He's bounced around a little bit too. Both Cameron Wake and Hayes played with Adam Gase last season. They both have experience in a 4-3, have had success in a 4-3, and Hayes actually had some time with the St. Louis/LA Rams under Greg Williams. So if we can look at the edge rusher position and sign two of these guys, again, Frank Clark is the only one that I feel like, and kind of Lawrence too. But Dallas has a lot of guys to pay, so Lawrence might hit the market. If we offer him with a huge front-loaded contract early on in the process, I feel like we can maybe sway Lawrence's opinions and hopefully get him into the green and white. But looking at that list specifically, especially Cameron Wake and Willie Hayes, maybe, and even Zeke Ansah. I would really like Zeke Ansah because he's versatile too, and he hasn't been playing football for that long. I really like Zeke Ansah. So yeah, just keep an eye on some of those guys. Moving on, we got the outside linebacker position. Let's be honest, there was only one guy that really stood out to me that was deserving of a big contract. 4-3 outside linebacker, Anthony Barr of the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this is a guy that the Minnesota Vikings simply cannot pay. They cannot pay this guy what he wants. He's going to hit the market. He's going to cash in big time. Young player, athletic. He has size. He has power. I like that. He can get after the passer, and he's really good in open field, right? Hawking down the ball carrier. I like that. Good player in space, but I feel like he kind of gets lost in coverage. Long story short, Anthony Barr is a very good player. I don't want to say he's a great player, but he's a very good player that I would like the New York Jets to target at the outside linebacker position. Now, finally, we have the offensive line. Okay, kind of like the wide receiving core, or the wide receiving class, not that talented. A few guys that stood out. We got Darrell Williams. We got Don Smith. We got Eric Kush of the Chicago Bears, and we got Trent Brown. Now, the New York Jets, you take a look at this roster. Obviously, we're young, and we have a lot of money to spend. And we're going to have a high pick. So we can utilize the high pick in possibly an offensive line spot. Maybe Jonah Williams, maybe Greg Little, I don't know, we'll see. But as of right now, I look for the New York Jets to kind of shore up the guard position. That's where I feel like the Jets are going to hone in on as far as free agency goes. I feel like we're going to utilize the draft for the tackle positions. If we can maybe draft the Jonah Williams, play him at left tackle, or even move him to right tackle, keep Kelvin Beachum on the roster, keep him at left tackle, Williams at right. That could work too. Bring in two free agent guards, maybe a free agent center and a free agent guard, and kind of mix and match, mix around the pieces on however you want to do it. But those are just some of the guys I would target if I'm the New York Jets heading into this 2019 offseason. And keep in mind, you're never going to get like all-star player after all-star player after all-star player after all, you're not going to just rattle off Pro Bowl after Pro Bowl after Pro Bowler in one class. It's just not realistic. So the Jets have to pick and choose our battles. We have to invest the money. We have to make sure we have a good ROI, return on investment. We can't just be blowing money left and right because we see what that can do to a franchise. It could just put you in the hole and just keep you there for so long. I mean, look at the Eagles with the whole Dream Team thing. When they went out, they signed all these players, all these players, and they just gotten into extreme cap hell. And if it doesn't work, if it does work, hey, great. But if it doesn't work, all of a sudden everybody gets fired. The whole team is ruined because there's just there's so much money that has to be paid. So that's kind of how the New York Jets are looking right now. I went over some of the players that I feel like the Jets should target that would be great system fits schematically, offensively, and defensively. Like I said before, we're sitting second behind the Colts with $106 million in space, and the top cap hits, Leonard Williams at $14 million, Tremaine Johnson at $12 million, and Kelvin Beachum at $9 million. So I hope this video gave you guys a little bit of value, a little bit of quality, I guess, and a little bit of clarity. So I guess I'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Who do you want the New York Jets to go out and target this offseason in the free agency class? And of course, I left off certain positions like safety, like corner, like defensive tackle, like inside linebacker. I feel like the New York Jets have those positions pretty much solidified for the most part, outside of Cornerback, we're gonna, because I mean, Morris Claiborne's set to hit the market, Dale Roberts is set to hit the market, so we're going to have to mix and match a little bit in the cornerback department as well. But those are just some of the positions I left off because, for obvious reasons. I'm not going to go out and talk about safeties and this and that when we have Marcus and Jamal. So I'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I know it's a long video, 15 minutes, so I appreciate you taking your time out of your day to watch this. And as always, go Jets.